You can now stream the forbidden documentary Occult Louisiana free on Tubi TV. Hello friends, we are in a troubling time when it comes to misinformation. The views of our guests do not reflect that of my own. This show is for entertainment purposes only, and any information presented during this show is a live-action role-play scenario. All that being said, enjoy this episode. Welcome back to Forbidden Knowledge News. I'm your host, Chris Matthew. Today my guests are Jonathan and Jacob from Cult of Conspiracy Podcast. First, be sure to watch the Forbidden documentary Occult Louisiana, available on Tubi and multiple streaming platforms. Also, get a Rokfin premium membership, rokfin.com/FKN+. Be sure to download our podcast episodes directly through Spreaker. And we're booking guests for February. If you have suggestions or you'd like to be a guest, email me, forbiddenknowledgenews@gmail.com. Today I want to welcome back to the show Jonathan and Jacob from Cult of Conspiracy Podcast. They cover all conspiracy, spiritual, and weird topics, everything from Bigfoot and aliens to government agendas. Gentlemen, welcome back. How y'all doing?
Wonderful. Awesome, dude. We're stoked to have these kinds of conversations. Our favorite talks are with you, Chris, because we already know that your third eye is all the way open as well.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And what a time. What a time that we are living in right now. I mean, we want to talk about politically, socioeconomically, culturally, just geopolitically, spiritually, and esoterically. There is so much shit popping off. It's honestly hard for us to even keep up with the current events, let alone the shit from the past, man. It's wild.
Yes, we have entered a very, I'd say, mystical time. It seems like the things that are unfolding have a level of orchestration that goes beyond any human intelligence. And we're going to get into that a bit. But this is our last episode of the year. It was quite an interesting year, as you were just saying. I'm really looking forward to what 2025 has in store for us. One of the big questions I explored this past year is the nature of paranormal phenomena as it relates to good and evil. Paranormal, for me, can be UFOs, hauntings, all sorts of unexplained anomalous events, cryptids. But do the perceived intelligences associated with the spectrum of phenomena have good or bad intentions? Or is it all one thing masquerading as multiple? Is there a deception when it comes to the quote-unquote benevolent extraterrestrial experiences? There's many questions that come up. I have no answers, but it's fun to discuss either way. I love exploring as many different perspectives as possible. So before we get into this, y'all remind the audience just a little bit about your show and where they can find you.
So we are the Cult of Conspiracy Podcast, and we're available on all podcast platforms everywhere. We have a Patreon that you can always find in our show notes if you want to be able to have access to the shows a couple of days in advance and commercial free, and also to be able to join our live show. But yeah, we are the Cult of Conspiracy. We pretty much cover everything, like whether it's conspiratorial or, you know, as Jacob was saying, like economical or the presidential craziness that was going on. Whatever's going on in the world, old and new, we cover it all the time because we're trying to really get to the bottom of whatever it is. What are we living on? Where are we at? Who's in control? Who are the people that are really like just fooling everybody and kind of steering the masses. You know, that's really what we're trying to break, that algorithm and break that code of basically just this reality in a sense.
And we bounce all over, especially in today's world, because there are so many people who never would have considered some sort of conspiracy theory conversation, right? As of 6 months ago. But all of a sudden, and I've actually experienced this in my own personal life, of somebody ask me, oh, what do you do? Da, da, da. And I tell them I'm a co-host of a podcast. I tell them it's conspiracy. And 6 months ago, people kind of snicker. Now people are like, hey, let me tell you something. When Trump got shot, there's no way, and bop, 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 bop. And it's like, okay, so now people are starting to talk about it. People are starting to question the reality. So yes, we bounce into the Yetis and the Bigfoots and the cryptids and the orbs. Are they extraterrestrial? Are they demons and angels and everything in between, for sure. But then we also make sure to talk about the current events of what's going on in today's world, because honestly, that is what's opening people's minds up. And people are starting to ask questions and they want answers. And then there's people like us. There's people like Forbidden Knowledge News. There's people like the Cult of Conspiracy. There's these, I'm not even going to say truther movement going on here, but there is real facts being discussed in open forum debates. And that is how real growth and real idea exchange can happen, you know?
And the good thing about our podcast is that it's not an echo chamber. Jacob and I agree on a lot of things. And so it's kind of, and there's actually been a few people that reached out to us and they say, you know what, I love listening to your conversations. It's almost like my left brain and right brain are arguing back and forth, because, you know, we all want to believe in the majestic and the magical and the spiritual and all that kind of stuff. But then there's other people that are like, no, it's very in line. It's this way. Don't worry about it. And so that's kind of the conversations that me and Jacob have one way or another on pretty much all topics, really.
Right on. Great introduction. Jacob, since you mentioned the mainstream sort of material, conspiratorial, geopolitical events that are unfolding, let's start there. How do you guys feel about the events that have unfolded this past year? Some of the things that, like you said, most people would start with whenever they're starting to become aware of some of these things.
This year has been pretty epic, scary even by a lot of people's standards. And not just in America. Yes, the election was wild. Yes, Trump almost getting assassinated twice. Once for sure he got shot. The other one was the foiled attempt. But it's been a very wild time. And then we look geopolitically. Mexico, just to our southern border, had like 32 assassinations to get to the president that they currently have. South Korea is on their third president in the past 2 months because they had a coup followed by a coup, and now there's some other wild shit going on. Azerbaijani planes are going down. Houthi rebels are popping off. We got there's so many things. France is in some sort of open revolt. Syria has completely fallen. Haiti is still being ran by barbecue. Last time I checked, he was skinning people alive to prove a point and shit. Brazil just got found with more corruption on their political. It's wild. There's so many things you could look at. Pretty much any section of the world, and there's probably some wild shit popping off as we speak. And a lot of people are worried that we are about to enter World War III because there is so many things popping off, and it's a massive powder keg, and it's just waiting on that one final spark to set it all off. And I'm not saying that there's no chance of that by any means, but I also feel like these are a lot of isolated incidents that are connected, but are also very nuanced and not connected. So I am interested and excited to see what the next year brings, not just because of the new president taking over for America, but because there is a drastic political shift. There is a drastic culture shift happening across the world right now, where people are being disillusioned by the mainstream narrative that we've been told for so long, by the mainstream sources, by the same old political person that you see on the ballot box that you did last term and the term before that. There's a massive shift. And I'm not saying this is the Great Awakening by any means, but people are really waking up to where we are and where we have found ourselves and what we could potentially do to help fix it. So it's been a very wild year for sure.
Yeah, I actually think that it's all happening on purpose in a weird way. Like, call it the controllers of the Matrix, the gods of our reality, whoever is in control of whatever we're perceiving around us. I think that a lot of these things are happening synchronistically in a very weird way, and I don't think that it's really that far out of the ordinary. I mean, it's out of the ordinary, but as the algorithm of the Matrix goes, or whatever, however you want to look at it, like the fact that we're seeing all these drones and orbs and everywhere, and it's not just New Jersey. A lot of people think it's only there. It is all over the world, dude. You want to talk about Brazil, all over Asia, Europe, South America. I mean, literally everywhere. And it's not even just in New Jersey as far as the United States goes. People have been showing videos in Texas, in Arizona, in California and Utah. I'm sure there's probably some going on over in Colorado on your end. It is wild pandemonium right now, and I think that, you know, we are kind of on the verge of some kind of weird awakening. You know, we've been talking about conspiracies for how long now, and I think that the conspiracies were kind of a soft launch into the new coding of this new reality that we're going to be stepping into, and people had to look around them, and they had to be able to see that things are rigged, and they're not what we thought they were, as far as politically and just literally everything, the school system, the money system, the taxation, and literally everything. I feel like we're getting, we've been taken advantage of for a very long time, and people are starting to notice that. And whenever you start to have those breaking in the code, that's whenever weird things start to happen, I think. And so, yeah, I think the drones is kind of like it's the next step past conspiracy. I think that really will launch us into a whole different direction in the future. And I don't know. I mean, that's my own personal belief. I look at the world in a very spiritual kind of way, literally on a moment-to-moment basis. I wonder how it affects me and my reality and my family and everybody spiritually. And I think that might have sounded crazy a couple of years ago, but I think that's at least the way we're going anyway over here.
Yeah, I have to agree. I view the world very similarly through a synchromystic lens. I have taken a step back from all the politics and conspiracies and tried to study how it all fits together in a broader sense, in a sense of the unseen or metaphysical. And there are some very strange connections that have been occurring over the past few years, actually, but it was really strong this past year. I have to also step back and look at how everything unfolded and wonder if the people who are embracing Trump as a savior are falling into a very large trap. I get the sense of new boss, same as the old boss, but just with a different perspective, some new propaganda behind it. But it seems like a lot of people are being lulled into a false sense of security with this upcoming administration. They could be taking advantage of that. I see also a lot of infiltration into the alternative media spaces and the conspiracy communities. There's a lot of bad information being put out there, and there's just a lot of nonsense to confuse us. It's kind of like the wild, wild west all over again, except now we're in this technological age. We have drones swarming, and I see the drone activity, and all I can think of is all the Hollywood dystopian movies that portrayed the world being policed by drones, and if you break the law, they could mow you down with this exotic technology at any second. And I'm thinking, is this some sort of precursor to what that could be? I don't know, but very interesting times, to say the least. Do you guys get the sense of somewhat of being lulled into a sense of security with a false security with this new administration?
Kind of yes, kind of no. I don't want to say false sense of security. I've always seen Trump as what he is. I don't think he's the savior. I don't think he's even a good man. I'm going to be honest with you. He is a Fortune 500 CEO, true blue New York City with construction. He has made deals with mobsters his entire adult life. He didn't get that way from being just a really good guy. You know what I mean? No, he's kind of a piece of shit. But of the options on the table, that was the better one. Don't get me wrong. I think it doesn't take much to see that. But that being said, when you look at what happened when he took charge last time, right? They hit him with COVID. Or I'm sorry, when he was leaving office, they hit him with COVID to make him look incapable and all of these things. it would have made sense to me, especially with what has been going on in the past few weeks. We just had a United States plane get shot down, okay, by our own Navy. Now, I am not, the brightest man on earth, but I am quite a conspiracy theorist. And we do know that false flag operations happen a lot. If we were trying to make a World War III happen, there was already a few instances, that was the most recent one, where we could have said, oh, the rebels shot it and we need to go fuck up Yemen, and that would have cataclysmed into a whole thing, right? Or the plane that just went down that Russia shot down. It looks like the tail was shot with buckshot. Or take an example of anything from Ukraine. Take an example of anything from Djibouti or from Syria. There was so many opportunities already to kickstart a World War III or some sort of a global catastrophe where Trump would take over and be forced to deal with this rather than what he set out to do. But the fact that they haven't pushed that, it's like the world is afraid to go to World War III, but they want everybody to think that we're about to be there. There's like a 3rd to 4th D level chess being played just on the global public. You know what I mean? So I don't see Trump as necessarily a false sense of security or even a real sense of security. I see it as we will have somebody in office for 4 years that will be looking out for financial interests. We can guarantee that because at the end of the day, he is a businessman and nothing else. And that could go very positively, but it could really also go very negatively. It's literally just one piece of paper. It's one form being signed as opposed to the other at this point. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I don't know. I think whenever we're talking about Trump, I want to be one of those people that gets really excited about the whole thing, but anything politically has always let me down. Every single time. There's never been an instance where we've had one leader who's actually given a shit about its citizens. I mean, you really care about us? All right, well, stop chemtrails. You really care about us? Get rid of the IRS. You really care about us? I mean, there are certain things that Trump has targeted. You know, he's gone after, he said that he's not going to be taxing overtime, which is nice. People aren't going to be getting taxed on tips. And I think that there's a lot of good things that he's doing. But I think overall, I think the system is too fucked up, man, to have one guy over the span of 4 years to go and fix it. And I think that's exactly the way they want it. I mean, just look at, whenever he was in office before, how many of those things did the next administration tear down? Like, it was like so easy to just get rid of it. And as a matter of
claim that it was their idea or some shit.
Right. And matter of fact, that the Biden administration has been selling parts of the southern border wall. Literally, they've been selling them for like $20 a pop. It's like it's like eBay up in here, dude. It's like, what the hell is going on? And so I think that, there are two separate factions that have different ideologies. But I think at the very top, dude, this shit is so interwoven. It's impossible to completely break down. I think that it's one of the most brilliantly evil things ever constructed.
And with that, let me ask you, Chris, what are your thoughts on Musk? Because I keep hearing people in the political talking space say, oh, yeah, Musk is going to take over. And it's like, wait, I'm sorry. Is Musk his VP? Is he like, no, he's in charge of the Department of Government Efficiency, right? But people cannot separate the two. They're thinking that Elon is going to be basically running the country third party through Trump. I kind of have no dog in that fight. I personally see Elon as a chaotic neutral. Like he could absolutely wake up tomorrow morning and decide he's a supervillain and there's nothing we could do to stop that if he so chose. But but maybe he's already made that choice. There's so many questions. Where are you at with the Musk-Trump combo?
Well, I am sort of leaning along those same lines, that he could be a wild card, but I think as for now, he's being used as a technological soldier to roll out the dystopian future that is foreseen for America. And this seems to be the perfect guy to get that job done. And I think he's being used for that particular purpose right now.
That's fair.
I don't want to spend too much time on Trump. I've already given the man too much limelight in the past few shows. Let's get into the weird woo-woo waters here. We talked about the drones earlier. This is a big story. I've had a few people on to give their insights and theories about the possibilities of what we're seeing. And the larger consensus is it is some sort of military exotic technology, at least when it comes to the drones. What we can point out as appears to be some sort of physical hardware, maybe it contains some sort of exotic technology, but it's pretty much standard drone looking technology. Then we
I see
have
it as a red cell, man. I see it as like they're launching new tech that the regular public hasn't seen yet. How are these drones able to stay out for 6 to 8 hours? How are they the size of cars and all that? It's very possible that this is some new RTX, formerly Raytheon, new military hardware that they are doing soft launch type of thing. Now, why? What's their reason? Who knows? But as far as the drones go, I could at least believe that. You know what I mean? It's some sort of government op that they're not comfortable talking about out loud yet.
Well, we have the drones, and that would be the most obvious explanation for that. But as Jonathan was saying earlier, they have these other videos that are surfacing of these anomalous orbs that do not behave like any sort of man-made technology that I've seen, but I've seen these over the years surface looking like intelligent light sources that move in ways that our technology doesn't have the capability to. I've seen some very interesting ones recently that seem to show the man-made drone technology coming into contact with one of these things and being immediately disabled and falling to the ground. I've seen a few videos similar to that. But as far as theories on these, there's very few. I've heard some say that they believe these are our exotic military technology, which I'm open to. It's possible that we may have something like this, but I lean more on the lines of something more anomalous that we aren't even sure of what it is. I'm talking our military, but what do you guys think?
Right.
I think that what we're looking at, for the most part, I think that a lot of the orbs that are being videoed and captured, I think that is maybe intergalactic, maybe it's from here, maybe it's something that we're not accustomed to seeing. Like, this is a phenomenon. There's no doubt about it. Whether they're coming from our oceans, whether they're coming from another dimension, maybe they're coming from another planet, who knows? But I think that this is something that is an absolute crazy phenomenon. And whenever you look at it, I think, and there are like videos of drones and orbs within the same frame, right? And you'll see like almost like a drone is trying to understand the orbs and maybe trying to follow the orbs around a little bit. And to be completely honest, I actually think that the drones that we have, the ones that we've been seeing, I think that the drones that we have, to put it in weird terms, I guess, is kind of like a Chinese ripoff of the actual spiritual thing. I think that what we're looking at, because if you see some of the orbs, and I'm going to show you some videos here, there are orbs that are literally, they start out as these blurry looking, like weird looking orbs, right? And I don't even know how else to describe them.
Plasmoids.
Plasmoids, there you go. They look like that, and then, dude, I shit you not, they fucking transform into drones. Like, and that sounds crazy, but there are multiple video instances of this happening where people are getting it on video and they're like, whoa. It was an orb and then it just transformed into a drone. What is going on here? And there have been people that have come on to our show. Shout out to our boy Electro Nick. He thinks that all the drones are orbs. Like, he's been saying that since the very beginning. And I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't really buy it. I was like, come on, like, they're masquerading as drones. Why would they be doing that? But then I saw the actual evidence, and I don't think that we're going to be able to. I mean, there's going to be people out there, they're going to be like, I don't believe that. You can't really believe everything on the internet. But I think that there are people that are, that are taking actual video evidence of whatever is going on. And it's hard to to just say no to it. Like there has to be something going on here. So, I mean, whenever you're ready, I actually have a couple of videos if you want to get into that.
Yeah, while you pull those up, shout out to Ryan Burns. He was on the show the other day. We were discussing this very thing. And he's witnessed this. He has property right on the edge of Skinwalker Ranch. He's witnessed these plasmoids shift into airplanes, drones, birds, other strange things that he couldn't even identify in the sky, but they do start out looking like these shape-shifting balloon-like plasma light orbs that can turn into basically anything, it seems. And I wonder if that could be it, but I've seen a couple of videos of these crashed drones. I don't know how much validity there is to this. A couple of people in New Jersey that got quick shots of some of these things actually hitting the ground or bouncing off of people's cars as they're disabled.
There was
I
that
don't
one
know,
that the
man.
New York City police recovered. And granted, I have never seen a drone that big. Or with 8 propellers. It was called a vampire drone, which you can look up. It's cutting edge tech as far as that's concerned. But when you watch the video of these New York City police, keep in mind there's like 35,000 New York City cops. Like it's one of the largest police departments in the country, if not the largest. These dudes are not like they're not like your SWAT guys. This dude looks more like a glorified mall cop that actually is NYPD, and he's kind of, joking around about this drone that he's carrying, and it kind of takes away from the credibility of it. It really does. But again, that's only to the drones. And yeah, we've had people, not just Nick, but I've heard other people also talk about how, well, what if it's alien or extraterrestrial, whatever, orbs that are producing sound and producing light to make it look like a drone so that we're not freaked out. I personally don't subscribe to that, but I understand why people would make more, put more things in place to make it make sense. I get it.
So what I'm looking at here, this is somebody that got a clear video of this, kind of clear. I mean, how clear can you be whenever you're thousands of feet away? But
fair.
To say, and I'm not going to play the sound, there's not really any sound, but it seems very angelic. I mean, it seems like it's not very like this video says. It says, I saw an orb in Ohio tonight and the energy did not feel intimidating at all. It says the orb's energy is pure if your energy is pure, which, I mean, that's getting into the woo-woo, I suppose. But there is what is that? What are we looking at right there? I mean, this seems to be the same exact thing whenever people, and I say this all the time, but whenever people take very high-powered telescopes and they shoot it up at any specific star, any star in the sky, it resembles this. It resembles almost like I don't know, like water almost. Like there's a ripple in the water, it seems like.
Yeah,
but that's also because they're out of
and
focus.
then water over it.
Yeah. Like this looks to me like a camera looking at a Christmas light that the lens is smudged and out of focus.
Okay, all right.
Now, anyone listening on the audio side, I encourage to go to Rumble if you want to see the videos that we are showing right now.
Yeah, so here's another video. This is one that just happened actually, what is it, yesterday? Off the shore. It's somewhere in New Jersey, but somebody saw a swarm of UAP or UFO or orbs or whatever over the ocean in New Jersey. This one's pretty wild, dude, because this guy's just out in a boat, right?
This is clear. I don't see no finger smudges. I don't see nothing like that. The sun is up for this video. Let's go, man.
Look, nothing in the sky at all. Then all of a sudden, bam, what is that? Anybody tell me what that is? We're in the middle of the...
Are they moving or are they floating?
Nothing around. What? Nothing around.
Right? That's kind of crazy to just see that. No, they weren't moving. They seemed to be almost suspended in the sky in that video.
Wow.
So
that's pretty wild.
That's one. All right. And now you start to see another variety of this right here where people are, there's not really any sound of that one, but what is going on in the sky over there? Is that drones? Maybe. Is it orbs? Who knows? I mean, it's kind of far away. That's the thing, is that not everybody's walking around with a $10,000 telescope to be able to find out what the hell these things are, right? Most people are only carrying, just their phone. And, albeit like phone cameras have gotten a lot better through the years. But I mean, there's only so much you can really tell. Here's another one. This is in Florida. Let's see here.
All right, TikTok. These are drones in Lithia, Florida right now. I don't know what this is. I would call these orbs.
Yeah, me too.
These are orbs. I am not kidding. And there's ball lightning happening to the right. I know that's a natural phenomenon, but it's rare.
I see one's moving now.
Yeah. And there was a military helicopter or some sort of helicopter next to them.
Have you guys seen the lightning?
Oh, it's moving. It's moving.
It's totally moving.
That is ridiculous.
And it's blinking too.
In the world am I looking at?
Now,
What in the world is that?
Hey, Jared, you see how it has flashing lights?
Okay, so one of the orbs has now turned into a drone. This is not AI generated. I know what I'm doing. This is a brand new iPhone. I'm zoomed in. But there were 3 of these. At first, they all appeared as orbs. And then they went from being an orb into a goddamn helicopter or something, into a drone, a literal drone. There's one that's a drone. A moment ago, that drone was an orb. I don't know what I'm looking at right now. I don't know what the hell.
And that's the point, is that these things are literally shape-shifting into drones, into planes, as you were saying, Chris, even fucking like birds, animals, whatever. They appear as orbs at first, and then there's something else. And so whenever people are questioning, are these things orbs? Are they drones? I think the answer is just yes. I think that's how I mean, it's a simple answer, I suppose, but how we understand what the hell's going on here. And this isn't some kind of outlier video. There are hundreds of these videos, dude.
These are drones.
Wow.
These are goddamn.
Now that's what I'm saying. I'm not there. So like, if he says it just turned into a drone, then like I believe him. I see cloud coverage. I could see like if this thing was producing light, how it would look just kind of like whatever as a refracted in the clouds that it's around. But they were stationary. They weren't blinking. Well, one of them was at first. Then, and I don't know how he could tell that it became a drone or became a helicopter. Maybe like with his eye, he could see it better than the camera picked up.
It's mainly the telltale thing of whenever people are looking up in the sky, you see something at night or whatever, and then it has the red and green lights, like which traditionally would be some kind of, aircraft. And those are the running lights, right?
And there's drones that have the red and green as well, but yeah.
And the drones as well, right? But initially it didn't have those red and green lights. And then it transformed into having them. Almost as if it's like shielding itself. Like, all right, well, you spotted us. Maybe we're gonna go back into just being a drone, so that way, whatever. But dude, it's crazy. And there's a shitload of these videos, dude. I'm telling you. And that's the thing. One thing that I've noticed is that you can't find these videos anywhere on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, anywhere. I mean, sparingly you might, but for the most part, you got to find these on TikTok, which is why I've been saying I don't want them to be taken away from TikTok. But people have been saying that they've been trying to post these videos on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, and they're getting flagged. They're getting taken down almost instantly as soon as they upload them. And some of them are actually getting taken down on TikTok as well. It's just that there's so many people, that are posting the videos.
The fact that they're like more exclusively on TikTok actually makes me not believe them more. I'm going to be honest.
What's the explanation then?
Yeah, I mean, you have to take videos in general with a grain of salt, especially in our day and age. But
Sure.
there's certain ones that I can look at and have a pretty good feel if it's bullshit or not. I mean, most of these look pretty genuine to me. Again, I'm not going to go all in and say that they're real or they're not real, but they are worth presenting, I believe.
See, now I saw this kind of thing in the sky a couple months back, and everybody called me an idiot because it was Starlink.
Well, yeah, Starlink, they have, like, they go kind of like in a
They only
chain.
go in one direction, though.
True.
Right. They're not shifting and rotating and doing all this other kind of crazy shit. But
Yeah, and it wasn't all over the sky. It was one defined line of what I was looking at. That's for sure.
Right. And so this is actually a video of showing all the different cities and states that have been documented in like a short amount of time, and like over a week. People have been saying, all right, look, this one happened in Michigan, this one happened in, you know, somewhere out west or whatever. And it's like, dude, they're literally happening all over the place. And so I don't know. I mean, if you go outside, Jacob, and you go outside and you see this shit, are you going to say, oh, that's Starlink? I'm not worried.
No, because whenever I saw Starlink, I freaked the fuck out. And then everybody told me that, no, bro, it's no big deal. No, if I saw this, I would freak the fuck out for sure.
Right. There's something going on here. Right. And so I don't know what it is. I mean, I guess it's hard to say exactly what is going on. But check this out. This one is wild, dude. All right. So this is an orb that's filmed up close and then it changes shape, dude. Check this out.
Autonomy's co-founder and CEO, Tim Hoover. Last 40 years, the Ag Information Network has been...
All right. There's not really any audio on that. It's just playing the radio. But whenever you look, dude, it kind of looked like what we were talking about, like the kind of light that's under rippled water. And then it eventually, wait for it. It's coming. And it'll blow your damn mind, dude.
Anybody that wants to watch this, seriously, check it out on Rumble or come out and check out patreon.com/cultofconspiracy, because I have a feeling that the visual aids are going to do a lot better than what we're describing audio.
It just grew lights out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It just grew lights on the sides.
Now, is it possible that it was facing the side that whole time and that you couldn't see it because those blinking lights are being like filtered out by the brighter light, and then whenever it turned, you saw those?
Let's go back to the beginning. That's what you see. That's not something on the side.
I see blinking. I see blinking directly in front of, like, yeah, now you don't, but as soon as he backed up, you could see something was blinking on it. And then whenever it turns, you see them.
You know, unless I see anything like this for myself, it's hard for me to discern it. But I do have very close friends that have had experiences, very close experiences with intelligent orbs, like Ryan Burns. And he was telling me a couple of the experiences he's had. The ones that he dealt with came very close, in close proximity to where he was. I'm talking within a few feet from him. All he could see was this non-corporeal, just light. They didn't have any source to it, but it seemed to be able to predict his movements. It was following him wherever he went. If he slowed down, it would start to slow down. It was almost like it almost predicted where he was going to go and tried to cut him off a few times. This one experience, him and a few people were running from a group of these lights. They had to end up diving into a ditch, and they watched as these orbs just flew over the ditch looking for them. Then he had another experience. This was right outside of his trailer, where one of these just anomalous lights with no source popped up over his trailer, and he was walking around trying to find a source for this thing, and every time he'd walk closer to it, it would move away from him, and he could never, ever catch up to it, and then it just shot off into the sky. So things like that, it's hard to say that that's some sort of exotic military technology. If it can predict your movements, I'm sure they have things that's way further ahead than anything that we're aware of, but that's pretty fucking exotic. I don't know.
Oh, 100%, dude. To be able to see one of these things up close, I would love to experience that. Like we've experienced, you know, like I said with our boy Electro Nick, we've experienced these orbs, like, but they've always been very far away, like seemingly a couple thousand feet up in the sky. But it's happened on multiple occasions. So like, whenever I'm gonna be real with you, like before a year or two ago, when people talked about orbs, I was like, you know, it's probably like some kind of camera glare. You know what I mean? Like it's somebody is really messing with the editing of the video or whatever. But I've seen it. Like it is a real thing. And so this is the last video I want to show you. This is actually something that was caught on the news. Yeah. And it baffled the news reporter so much. So it's only a minute long, but like, just check it out.
are happening, it seems everyone starts to look up, like my crew and I have been here in Mendham recording this video that you're looking at right now. We have no idea what it is, if it's a natural phenomenon, because it could be, but this is why so many municipalities are now asking people to reach out and send their videos to them or to experts who might be able to sort out what they're seeing in the skies. But I guarantee there are so many people looking up and making those recordings because this mystery is one that needs to be solved. For now, we're live here in Mendham Borough. Tony Yates, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Lee's saying he's wondered whether or not that might be the moon, Tony, but you pointed out it's really the question people are asking. What is it?
No. Yeah. Yeah, no, we're looking at the moon right now, and that's nowhere near the moon.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, the moon.
So yeah, like it's not just some weird phenomena that only people, you know, in the backwoods of New Jersey or whatever are seeing. You know, it's literally all over the world. They're even putting it on the news. I don't know what to make of it. Maybe it's something, maybe it's Bigfoot. Maybe they're just always blurry. Who knows? But there's something going on.
I saw a video that was very similar to the one you just showed with this news lady talking about it, but it was just a lady filming it, and she started talking to it. And for some reason, she started mentioning Jesus. And every time she said Jesus, this thing would burst and shimmer. It was so interesting. Like I said, I couldn't tell you if this is a real video or not. Seemed genuine enough. Seemed like this lady was just pretty shocked by what she was seeing. Happened to say Jesus a few times, but this thing seemed to react to it, which I found pretty interesting.
Oh yeah, dude, I saw that video, and it was like, call it a coincidence that every time she was done talking, this thing would react, right? Like, and it was super strange. So she was seeing like this orb that, you know, was just kind of just being shown there. And then she would say, "Do you love Jesus?" And it would start to ripple. And then she would say, "Jesus is my savior, and Jesus died and for me and for us," or whatever she said.
Yeah.
And it was reacting every single time she was done saying something. So I don't know what to do with that, dude.
Did the reaction seem, and how are you gauging what an orb's reaction is, positive or negative, right? But did it seem distorted, or did it seem like it was like positively reacting to the name?
Positive. I don't know. Shimmery? I don't know.
Well, like, you know what I'm saying? Did it seem like it kind of like distorted and kind of broke apart and then came back? Or did it look like it just kind of got a vibe about it? Like, I don't know.
If an orb could smile, I imagine that's what it was doing.
Yeah, it looked kind of sparkly. It didn't look negative in any way, I don't think.
The only reason I'm asking is because a lot of people would say that demons and evil things have to flee in the name of Jesus. So, like, if this orb was, like, kind of dissipating and then reconfiguring itself because the name of Jesus was weakening it or something, but y'all are saying it was more like boosting it in a way. So, okay, maybe the orbs are from the other side.
We could be misinterpreting it. I don't know. But let's dive really deep into some woo-woo waters here. I mentioned this the other day. There's this strange consensus amongst the woo-woo spiritual community, psychics, remote viewers, people who claim to have extraterrestrial contact, that we're entering this golden age of extraterrestrial contact and free energy and everything being revealed, and everybody's going to hold hands with the aliens and sing Kumbaya. They're going to pick up their probes and give us free energy. I don't know, man. It's interesting that there's such a large consensus of people that believe this and claim to have been communicated this information. I don't know. What do you guys think?
You and I are very different on this one, Jonathan, so go ahead first.
I kind of believe on some real shit. I really kind of do, because I think that, you know, all of the conspiracies that we've covered, and you know that I got the Meta Mysteries podcast where we get into all the different spiritual realms and everything else. I think that the place that we live on is a school. Like, call this a round planet, a flat planet. I don't really give a shit what it is. I'm just saying this existence as a human, coexisting with other humans and doing what we have to do on a daily basis. It is a school. It is, you know, Jacob believes that it's kind of like a pass or fail kind of situation, and maybe it is. But I think that it is a school to basically kind of like raise your consciousness in a weird way. I know that sounds strange, but I think that that's really what's going on. I think that we need these experiences for whatever's after. I think that these will play, like the experiences that we experience here will play into whatever is directly after being done, like when we're done being a human, you know. And we know that, you know, like that energy can't be created or destroyed. It can only be transferred. So we know that whenever we die here, it's not the end. Like, there is more after this. I mean, whether you want to get religious about it or if you just want to get spiritual about it, there's something most people within the religious and spiritual realms know for a fact. We are going somewhere after this, and we don't know necessarily what it looks like. I would imagine, I have a weird, strange suspicion that whatever is directly after this life, it is slowly starting to creep into this life. And I think that that's what all these orbs and all the weird shit that's going on, it's almost like the Matrix crashing in on itself. I think that eventually those walls come down. The wizard behind the curtain is just an old man. And I think that we're going to be stepping into a reality that is quite similar to whatever is after this life. And I think that they're starting to merge in a weird way right now.
And I am on the very, very far opposite side of that. I think that it's only going to get worse from here. There is no upside. It's not getting better. The hope and all of that is futile. I believe that we're only going to get peace after we die. So I'm more of telling people to brace for impact, because whatever is about to happen, and whether it's the orbs or the political or the war or the whatever, it's only going to get worse. Like, there's no good guy that's going to come and save the world and everybody's going to live happy, happy, joy, joy. We're still humans. We're still shitty. Like, we still have the political elites at the top right now, as we will in 10 years from now. So, like, yeah, I think that the culture of the world may go through a shift, and maybe there will be a golden age, quote unquote, technologically, or maybe even religiously. Maybe there'll be a big, great awakening on pseudoscience and these types of things, and pseudo philosophies, and maybe there will be a blending of new age ideas. But I am way more skeptical, and I've been proven time and time again how humans, when left to their own devices, will just bomb the shit out of each other. So I don't think that's going to stop anytime soon.
This is to add on top of that. I think that, you know, if you look, no matter what religious text or whatever you look into, we're always seen as children in the eyes of the gods or God, right? And I think, I mean, what do you do with children? I mean, I have a 2-year-old kid right now, and while I have to work and my wife has to work, we put him in daycare, and then he gets to run around with all of his other little kids that are about his same age, and he might bite somebody, he might hit somebody, he might trip somebody. Maybe he's going to learn a few lessons himself while he's in there, but I think it's kind of a temporary holding place, and I think that that's exactly what's going on with us. I think that this existence is a temporary holding place while we are kind of, maybe we were like conscious babies or something like this before this. I don't know. It's hard to understand, but I firmly believe that this place that we're living in is kind of like a playpen, and that there are possibly other ascended beings, call them Jesus or whoever, I don't know. Paramahansa Yogananda talked about his yogi, Sri Yukteswar, and he believes that guy was living in the other side, and that he was kind of not necessarily a master like over people, but kind of like a teacher for people to call upon. So take that for whatever you want. I think that this is kind of like it's a playground for the people that need the experience. Personally,
well, there's two different perspectives that we can explore a little further here. The first one might mesh a little bit more with Jacob's, is that this experience is essentially for us to learn from, but there will be no eternal reward here. We have to basically work for that and earn that through our works here. Now, that may coincide with other theories that this realm, what this realm is controlled by negative forces, controlled by satanic, archonic forces. And we're supposed to reject what this world has to offer in order to graduate to what is next. I do heavily consider that possibility, but I also have to add in that I believes some of Jonathan's perspective as well, that we are here to learn, but we do have creative abilities that we are not aware of here, and we may be able to bring elements of the other side to this reality just by collectively rejecting the negative. it may fundamentally change what this reality is, because I believe we are creators. I believe we have the power to manifest things in our reality in very powerful ways. And those negative archonic forces are attempting to prevent us from realizing that, so we can take back that power. So it may be a little bit of both, but I tend to lean towards that we can create more of our reality than we will ever realize. And we have to become aware that we are more self-sufficient than the parasites would have us believe. And all we have to do is check out of that system and start embracing our own gifts and powers to really bring that forward. But there's probably elements of both.
I mean, if you think about it, we experienced it during COVID. The rulers or the powers that be said that in order for you to go do this or to go do that, you have to do as we say and get the jab, right? And that if you wanted to kind of play in this material reality, you won't be able to go to football games or concerts, or you want to go to school or whatever. People were saying you had to get the jab. You had to play by their rules. And I think that the same thing goes for the nature of this reality. I think that if you're giving yourself into the nature of the material reality, such as like an overwhelming amount of sex, and you're trying to sleep with everybody, you're trying to drink yourself to death, or you're doing all these different drugs to try and escape this reality, whatever you're doing that's like too much, I think that absolutely goes against what we're supposed to be doing here. And you can see that all across the different, forms of literature. Like, don't give in to materialism. Don't give in to what to like man's needs, right? And the idea is to transcend the need for that. So whenever I'm not saying that everybody should do this, but I don't think that you should be sleeping with multiple people at one time. I don't think that you should be like drinking like crazy or doing a bunch of drugs or,
right,
whatever it is that is degrading yourself, because it's the exact opposite of what we're supposed to be doing. And I think what we're supposed to be doing is kind of figuring out who we are and what this reality is, and understanding how to be able to manifest and all these crazy things. I think that that's who we are at our absolute core. I think you're right. I think anyway. All right. So I don't want to too long, but Jacob, what do you think?
I agree with what you're saying, Jonathan, 100%. But that's kind of the point too, right? We're supposed to resist, right? Every young man who's 17 years old has the urge to go fuck every woman he's yeah, for sure, right? The egoic young man who thinks that he's hot shit, right? He can get any supermodel he wants. Yeah, of course. But we're not supposed to stay in that place. We're supposed to mature. We're supposed to grow, and we're supposed to be taught, hey, don't do this. There's a lot of long-term consequences that can come from doing this type of shit, right? We have to be taught that. We have to actually do the work and resist the temptations as they come out. But that's also why I believe that this is a pass or fail event. I don't believe that life is something where like, oh, well, if you didn't get it right, it's okay. Like, no. At the end of this, you're going to be graded accordingly. And if you didn't put in the work, and if you didn't study, and I don't just mean the Bible, I mean study within yourself. If you did not do anything to try to actively perfect your life, if you were just a lazy bum who just kind of went with the flow and just kind of whatevered about it for 75 years, yeah, I don't think you're getting a passing grade at the end of this, bro. That you would give like a C. I don't think that works in this ethereal realm. And again, not trying to put the Christian spin on it, but in any regard, in any religion, they talk about virtue and they talk about giving into vices and giving into the flesh. They all talk about fasting, right, as a way to solo that connection that you have with your source, whatever that may be. And I feel like there is only a pass or fail at the end of this. There's a black and a white. There's no gray. But again, that's just my perspective.
The extraterrestrial contact, spiritual woo-woo community is really embracing the possibility that contact is going to bring us into utopian age. I'm very weary of any intelligence that offers to give us technology, especially if it's not anything natural, if it's not anything we can do for ourselves. Probably pass on anything that those entities would have to offer. But this secret space community, these people who claim to have contact with extraterrestrials, and we're heading into this sci-fi age where we're going to be in communities with all this wild stuff. I really don't trust any of that because I don't really think we need that as humans. I don't think that that is what our evolution is supposed to be about. I could be wrong. Who knows? I just don't trust that narrative. What do you guys think?
See, I'm with you on this, but also I acknowledge that this is a human looking at it based off of human examples.
Right,
Okay, I'll give
right.
you right. And even within myself here. So like, look, when the conquistadors came and they met the Aztecs and they gave them weapons that were made of like forged steel. Bro, what? That's the most wildest shit they ever heard. Yeah, but that didn't come free of charge. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of extra shit to where we don't
And what
even
were
know.
the weapons for? Death and
Exactly.
destruction
Or
and war.
these smallpox blankets and this stuff that they couldn't produce on their own at that time. Now, given time, maybe they could reverse engineer them and all these things. But at the moment, these guys just came and gave us all this new shit. That's amazing, except nothing about that was in fact amazing. So, but that's humans doing that to other humans. And I understand that humans are imperfect creatures and all that. So who's to say that the alien or ET or whatever, not trying to throw a flavor on that, who's to say that they aren't absolutely benign and they are actually pure spirits and they genuinely do want to help us? But
I'll say I'm cautiously optimistic.
Exactly. I'm hopeful, but I personally don't trust shit. I check the toilet paper after I wipe because I don't trust shit. You feel me? So like, yo, if an orb comes down and says he's giving me free power, I'm just assuming he's trying to enslave me. Like, but that's just me. I don't know.
Right. Hey,
that's an interesting aspect, like an interesting way of looking at it, because I think that
I just see that nothing is free, you know?
You should be cautiously optimistic. I think you said that perfectly right there, Chris. I don't think that you should automatically just blindly trust anything. That being said, I think that whenever there is a weird spiritual shift that is happening, and call it because of the orbs or whatever, maybe it's just because we have more access to the internet now, so we have access to be able to look into all the different nomenclatures and all the different understandings and philosophies all throughout the past couple thousand years or whatever, right? But I think also it's getting to a point to where I don't know if we're going to have to trust if there are good guys and bad guys whenever it comes to this orb kind of situation. I think that honestly, it's going to be like a weird knowing. Like you're going to know. Like if you were in the presence of Jesus, like you wouldn't even question it. You wouldn't even worry about it if you had to trust it. You would know, like that's homie, right? If you saw him, right? There would be something that would be emanating about him, something magical about him that you wouldn't even be able to question it. It would just be so obvious that this is the guy, right? And that's just an example, but I think the same thing goes for the orbs. I think that they're going to give off some kind of something. It's like, you know, whenever you come in contact with a puppy, like you're not worried if this thing's going to attack you. You're like, oh my God, this thing is so cute. It's so loving. It's so awesome, right? I'm talking about a little puppy. I'm talking about a couple months old. Whenever they get older, maybe, you know.
No, but to that point, you make sure because them puppy teeth are extra sharp. And yeah, it's not going to kill you, but like you're extra cautious around them tiny little sharp teeth, right?
What if these entities have learned the art of emotional manipulation and love bombing so that they could take advantage of us? Maybe they have this extreme exotic ability to make us at ease and believe that they are these divine beings just by beaming out this energy. The only reason I say this, because I've experienced similar things to where I was fooled by certain energies that did not have my best interest in mind, and I know others that have as well. So if I can be easily fooled, and others that are in the spiritual space and they deal with these things all the time, if these people can be deceived as well, who's to say that it could be a major deception on all fronts? I don't want to believe that. Like I said, I'm very optimistic about the spiritual world, but I do have to regard it as a possibility, especially with things that we don't know what they are.
Who's to say that these entities they never fell from their Garden of Eden? right? They've never been introduced to sin or greed or lies. And then when they find a new planet of inhabitants, they only want to do help and love. We really don't know. You know what I mean? And who's to say that all orbs are from the same source? Who's to say that all extraterrestrials or extra spiritual entities or whatever, who's to say that all of them are from the same source too? I feel like one of these orbs might, hypothetically, just going down this line here, one of these orbs might absolutely be trying to hurt you, but one of these other orbs might be a legitimate source of light and love. But humans, with our only being able to see the color spectrum that we can see and hear the frequency spectrum that we're able to hear, and only with our human senses, look at these entities and only see a glowing orb. You know what I mean? How we have to have the discernment to be able to tell between them. But honestly, do we as humans even have the ability to discern a good and evil orb from each other? I mean, who's to say?
Well, I think that it kind of goes back to what Nikola Tesla was saying, that everything is energy, frequency, and vibration. And I think that if you can kind of understand that, like that energy that is happening around you, like you ever been around somebody who was just a straight up asshole and they don't even need to think, but you know that they're an asshole and you can almost feel the anger and the heat that is pulsating from them, right?
Then you start taking on that because misery loves company. Next thing you know, they're bitching about something. You didn't even care. You weren't even bitching about it, but now you're hanging around them and now you're like, yeah, fuck that. And you're over here bitching and grumbling too. When you were having a good morning before you met this person.
It like your energy almost starts to match it in a very weird and conversely, like think about whenever you were a little kid, you know, like I mean, for me, and I can see with my son and both of my kids, they were naturally attracted to wanting to be around their mother all the time. And I mean, yes, did they spend a lot of time inside of there? Yeah, for sure. But there is a motherly aspect that just emanates off of them that is very inviting to little kids. And I think that there's something inherent that like we can speak on that, like with that, like, so if we're around that kind of energy, you're going to react a certain way. And is it a possibility that they could just be emulating that? I fucking hope not, you know, like that's not going to happen, but at least coming from an energy, frequency, vibration standpoint, I feel like most people that are looking at these orbs are coming in contact with these orbs. We talk about Chris Bledsoe and all that stuff. He feels the same way. It's a very loving, almost familial sense of knowing that these are like good beings, and I get the same feeling as well whenever I look up and I see the same things in the sky or I see videos. I'm just like, dude, there's something about it that is just inviting and warm and welcoming and like almost empowering in a weird way. And so yeah, could that all be wrong? For sure. I don't know everything, you know.
Last few minutes, how do you guys feel about the upcoming year? You got anything interesting going on? Any projects?
Well, I think that just like Terrence McKenna once said, this shit is going to get weirder and weirder and weirder. And it's not going to stop being weird. I think that we are going to be questioning so many damn things, especially with the 24/7 news cycle. Dude, there's not enough hours in the day that's going to be able to track all the wild things that are going to be happening on a daily basis, whether it's political or economic or, you know, whatever you want to call it. I think that there's just going to be nonstop crazy things that are going to be happening at a massive, massive speed. And it's going to be hard to keep up with it. And I just want people to know that, like, dude, don't get too caught up. Like, don't become fearful to all this stuff. Like, just control what you can control, and that's it. Like, so, but yeah, I think that it's going to get pretty crazy, and I'm looking forward to it because I love the chaos.
Yeah. As far as new projects for me individually, my YouTube channel, I launched it and then it kind of went stagnant these past few months. Life threw a series of very hard curveballs at me that I'm, you know, I handled and I fielded, but also still kind of recovering from. So in the new year, I would like to dive more into all of the stuff that I wanted the channel to do. I want to talk geopolitics. I want to talk boo hurt night fighting. I want to talk religious. I want to talk all the stuff, the vlogs of me and Jonathan and what we do and where we go. I want to at least fight in 6 tournaments this year coming up, at least. And I'm optimistically trying to take 2 cage fights. I may or may not be able to. We'll see if my training and my time will be able to allow, but yeah, I've got a bunch of different moving parts. Not to mention, I got 3 active ass kids. Each of them are involved in like 2 or 3 different extracurricular activities. So honestly, bro, this new year coming up, things are going wild, but it's also a very good time to be alive. I don't know. As far as the world goes, the political spectrum and the ETs and all of the or UAPs, excuse me, where is all that going? I'm not gonna lie, I'm not scared. I'm not worried. I am excited, and I am honored to have the listenership and the cult members that we have that have made this the best fucking job I've ever had in my life, where we get to actually analyze and bullshit about these things and try to find deeper meaning and try to find the truth of the matter. And maybe we fucking maybe we completely miss that kernel of truth and we got to revisit it in a couple months when new information comes out. But like, this has been one of the most incredible experiences of my life, and I cannot wait to see what 2025 brings in, bro.
2025 going to be a wild year, dude. There's no way it's just a boring year. Like you are, like everybody gets that sense, like that feeling that 2025, there's going to be some kind of wild, massive shift that's going to be happening in one way or another. I guess we're going to find out.
Right on, man.
Balls deep, dude. I'm excited.
Yeah, I got the popcorn ready. It's going to be exciting. Gentlemen, thank you again so much. We'll definitely be doing this again in the upcoming year. And until next time, everyone, have a wonderful evening. We will talk again after the new year. We'll see you then.